Okay, I need you to be honest with me for a second. Are you the kind of person who can be having a completely normal day, maybe standing in line at the grocery store, maybe folding laundry, maybe just about to fall asleep, and then out of absolutely nowhere, your brain goes, hey, remember that thing you said at your cousin's wedding in 2015? Remember how you tried to make that joke and everyone just kind of stared at you? Remember how you laughed to cover it up and the laugh came out way too loud? And then your soul briefly leaves your body and you have to physically shake your head to get rid of the memory. If this is you, if you have a mental filing cabinet of cringeworthy moments stretching back a literal decade, I need you to stop whatever you're doing and listen. Because what you've been calling a personality flaw, an anxiety problem, or proof that you're just too much in your head is actually something completely different. Your brain isn't stuck. Your brain isn't sick. Your brain is wired in a very specific, very rare way that most people will never experience. And once you understand what's really happening, you're going to look at every single one of those cringe attacks completely differently. So let's get into it. First, let's validate something really important. The fact that you can vividly remember a specific social moment from 2015 with crystal clarity, down to what you were wearing, what the lighting looked like, and the exact tone of someone's voice, is not normal. And I mean that as a compliment. The average person barely remembers what they had for lunch last Tuesday. They definitely don't remember the exact phrasing of a comment that got a lukewarm reaction at a birthday party almost 10 years ago. But you do. You remember it in 4K ultra high definition with surround sound. And there's a scientific reason for that, which we're about to unpack. You are not broken. You are not boring. You are not too sensitive. You are wired for depth in a world that mostly runs on shallow. So let's break down, in 5 specific points, exactly what's happening in that beautiful, overqualified brain of yours. Number 1. You have what neuroscientists call emotionally indexed memory. Most people file memories chronologically, like a boring filing cabinet labeled by date. Your brain files memories by emotional intensity, which means any moment that had a strong social or emotional charge gets stored in the VIP section with extra security, extra detail, and a direct hotline to your conscious mind. This is why you can forget where you put your keys 15 minutes ago but remember, with surgical precision, the face of that guy who didn't laugh at your joke in 2015. Your hippocampus, the part of your brain responsible for memory consolidation, is working closely with your amygdala, which tags emotionally significant events. When the two of them team up, they create what psychologists call a flashbulb memory. Normally, flashbulb memories are reserved for huge events, like where you were on a major historical day. But if you cringe easily, your brain treats minor social moments with the same intensity as major life events. Your amygdala is essentially working overtime, saying, hey, this was important, we can't lose this data. It's not malfunctioning. It's operating at a higher resolution than most humans are capable of. Number 2. You have an unusually developed self-concept. Stay with me here because this is going to reframe everything. In psychology, there's a concept called the narrative self, which is basically the story you tell yourself about who you are. People with a highly developed narrative self are constantly updating this story based on new information, which means every social interaction gets evaluated against the question, does this fit who I am and who I want to be? When something you said or did in 2015 doesn't fit that evolving story, your brain doesn't just delete it. It flags it, keeps it on file. It says, we need to remember this so we don't do it again and so we can keep refining who we are. People who don't experience long-term cringe typically have a much looser, less examined narrative self. They don't look back because they're not actively constructing who they are with the same level of intention. You are. That's why those memories haunt you, because you are literally in the process of building a more refined, more intentional version of yourself, and your brain is using your past as raw material. That's not a flaw. That's the architecture of growth. Number 3. You have elevated autobiographical reasoning. This is the psychological ability to extract meaning from personal memories and use them to make sense of your life. Researchers have found that people high in autobiographical reasoning have stronger identity development, more stable self-esteem over time, and better emotional regulation in the long run. The catch is, this process requires you to actually revisit memories, sometimes painful ones, in order to work through them. So when your brain suddenly serves you that memory of tripping up the stairs in front of your crush in 2015, it's not torturing you. It's inviting you to extract a lesson, saying, what does this mean? What did you learn? Who have you become since then? Now here's the wild part. Studies show that people who engage in this kind of memory reflection consistently report higher levels of life satisfaction and wisdom as they age. Your brain is basically running a free therapy session, just with really bad timing. The cringe is the doorway, but the insight is what's actually waiting on the other side. Number 4, and this one genuinely blew my mind when I first learned it. The reason these memories hit so hard for you specifically is that you probably have a higher than average level of something called self-referential processing. This is a brain activity pattern centered in a region called the medial prefrontal cortex. Whenever you think about yourself, your values, your identity, or how you appear to others, this region lights up. Research shows that people who cringe easily at old memories have significantly more activity in this region compared to the general population. In other words, your brain spends more time thinking about you in relation to the world than other people's brains do. This sounds narcissistic, but it's actually the opposite. It means you're unusually attuned to the impact you have on others, the values you're trying to live by, and the gap between who you are and who you want to become. People with low self-referential processing don't cringe because they genuinely don't think about themselves that deeply. They just live, which sounds easier, and honestly, sometimes it is. But it also means they're less likely to grow, less likely to notice subtle social dynamics, and less likely to develop deep emotional intelligence. You're not cringing because something is wrong with you. You're cringing because you're paying attention at a level most people never reach. Number 5. There's an evolutionary reason your brain does this, and it's actually kind of beautiful when you understand it. In ancestral environments, being part of a tribe wasn't optional. If you got kicked out of the group, you literally died. You couldn't hunt alone, you couldn't survive winter alone, you couldn't protect yourself alone. So humans evolved an incredibly sensitive social monitoring system designed to catch any moment where we might have damaged a relationship or lowered our status in the group. Your brain, right now in 2024, is still running that exact same software. When it pulls up a memory from 2015 where you said something slightly awkward, it's not being dramatic. It's running an ancient threat detection algorithm that says, we need to review this to make sure we don't get exiled from the tribe. The people whose brains ran this software most intensely were the ones most likely to survive and reproduce. Which means, genetically speaking, if you cringe easily, you probably come from a long line of ancestors who were exceptionally socially attuned. You're not broken. You're the descendant of survivors who cared deeply about their relationships. That's not a flaw. That's a legacy. So here's the part where I want you to really hear me. The next time a memory from 2015, or 2013, or 2009 comes crashing into your mind uninvited, I want you to stop for a second and reframe it. You are not a person who cringes too much. You are a person with emotionally indexed memory, a highly developed narrative self, elevated autobiographical reasoning, intense self-referential processing, and ancient evolutionary wiring that made your ancestors successful. You are not too sensitive. You are too thorough. You are not stuck in the past. You are using the past as data. You are not anxious. You are aware. And in a world that increasingly rewards people who stop thinking and start scrolling, your ability to deeply reflect on your own life is genuinely rare. It's not a burden. It's a gift with a weird delivery system. Now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me, are you team, I still cringe about something from over a decade ago? Or team, I literally cannot remember anything embarrassing I've ever done? I already know this comment section is going to be chaos, and I want in on it. If this video made you feel less alone in your brain, hit that subscribe button because we unpack hidden psychological superpowers just like this every single week. And if you want to go even deeper, click the next video on the screen right now, because I have a feeling you're going to see yourself in it too. I'll see you in the next one.